service needs for vehicles and increase driving safety measures. As a director, going before the Township Board can be somewhat intimidating. However, the support provided by then Treasurer Brown allowed for the meetings to run efficiently and effectively. At the board meetings, Paul was encouraging and supportive. He often asked pertinent questions which allowed the directors the ability to better articulate the subject matter. While filling the role of supervisor must be a very daunting task, I would highly recommend Trustee Paul Brown. His incredible ability to work with finances and his ability to stand for what he believes in makes him a very effective replacement. Best of luck to both of you and Trustee Brown. Wendy Hellman. Jeff McGee, I don't.
And he's spoken. You don't need to read that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin?
Please.
I'm going to need some water. Dear board members, I am writing on behalf of Paul Brown regarding the position of supervisor for Independence Township. Paul and I first started to work together for a medical supply company. I started as a part-time warehouse worker and over the years transitioned to many different positions, and when Paul was hired in 2006 as the controller, I advanced to the assistant controller position. I worked closely with Paul and learned more in the 5 years that I worked with him than I had in all my previous years combined. When a position for purchasing manager opened up, he encouraged me to take on the new role and advance my career. When I worked with him as deputy treasurer at Independence, he again gave me every opportunity to learn and grow, and with that knowledge, I am now the finance director for the Charter Township of Flint. Paul wants the best for people and always encourages them to do their best while still holding them accountable for their actions. He is a great mentor and teacher and brings a vast knowledge of experience as a CPA and as treasurer that would make him an excellent choice for supervisor. Sincerely, Kevin McIntyre. Kim?
Please.
Dear Independence Township Board members, I am writing to recommend Paul Brown for the position of supervisor for Independence Township. I've had the opportunity to work with Paul for many years in the Treasurer's Department and have been consistently impressed with his work knowledge, efficiency, and the ability to get things done. I started as Deputy Treasurer with Independence Township in January of 2011 and saw firsthand how dysfunctional the Independence Township Board members were and how the township was being managed poorly. Paul came into office November of 2012 and put in many work processes in place, which contributed to the Treasurer's office running more efficient and effectively. I strongly recommend Paul for the position of Township Supervisor for Independence Township. He's experienced, detail-oriented, effective, and committed to getting the job done. Sincerely, Kimberly Masukian Patton, Deputy Treasurer of White Lake Township. Carolyn, or no?
No, we've mentioned her.
Deanna?
Please.
And that's
I'm
Joe
sorry.
Figa.
Joe Figa?
Joe Feig, I mentioned Joe.
Okay. Yes for Deanna or no?
Yes, please.
Pat, please forward to the Township Board. Based on the individuals that are running for the current interim position for Township Supervisor, I believe that Paul Brown is the logical choice to fill the role. I have known Paul for over 20 years and have witnessed his financial expertise serving his community in many capacities. His experience serving as the Independence Township Treasurer will provide a strong leadership and continuity to further the status quo we have seen over recent years. He has also served as treasurer of the Clarkson Community Tennis Association and treasurer of the Clarkson Area Chamber of Commerce, providing his financial expertise and a voluntary capacity for this community that he has grown up in and loves. In my opinion, his proven integrity will serve the residents of Independence Township well. Deanna Olson. Peg Roth?
Yeah, Bob and Peg.
It came from.
Signed
As
by both.
property owners in Independence Township, we would first like to thank Pat Kittle for his leadership. With everything going on in the township, we need someone to step in and fill that position, and we believe Paul Brown is that person. We have worked with Paul since he first got involved with the township in 2012. He has a very strong understanding of finance and does not make decisions without knowing the facts and reasoning behind the objective. Since he has had the opportunity to work so closely with Pat Kittle, he can easily and smoothly assume the necessary duties as supervisor and keep the status quo of what Pat Kittle has created. Thank you for including our letter, Bob and Peg Roth. Judy Tully.
Please.
This letter is in support of the appointment of Paul Brown as Township Supervisor. Mr. Brown is a longstanding official of the township as treasurer and trustee. He is familiar with or has direct experience with all the operations of the township. He knows the jobs and the people, he understands the finances and the investment, and is well equipped to deal with complicated issues like negotiation of union contracts. In my opinion, he will be a steady influence and able to continue the business-like operation and stability that Mr. Kittle has provided over his tenure. Even though not often recognized, I think these characteristics are very important to our businesses and residents. Most importantly, Mr. Brown has always put the township and its residents first, and his actions have consistently supported that view. He will be able to guide the township during the interim until the next election. The period leading up to the election will importantly provide a period for voters to get a look at and vet any candidates for the next regular 4-year term. Judy Tully. And last is the Whitfield.
Sure. Thank you.
To the Independence Township Board. My husband Alan and I have lived together in Independence since 1995, and before that I have lived here since 1966, growing up on Main Street with my 5 siblings and our parents Jim and Jean Sale. We are both retired from Oakland County and living on retirement income. Alan is a retired sheriff's lieutenant who dedicated 32 years to the people of Oakland County and would still be working except for an injury and then a lung cancer diagnosis. He is a 13-year survivor, and we are blessed to have him still be with us. I am retired from Oakland County Sheriff's as a narcotics team auditor after serving 36 years with Oakland County in administrative positions. We feel compelled to write the board in support of Paul Brown. We watched the interviews yesterday, and from those interviews we feel Paul is the obvious candidate for the job. We have also witnessed him as a treasurer, community volunteer, and trustee, roll up his sleeves and jump in to get whatever was required done for a successful outcome. He made quite an impression on us a long time ago as an individual who gets the job done. While the other candidates are also good people with their own qualities, my husband and I don't have the same confidence in them as we do Paul Brown. He has the knowledge and background required for the position of Independence Township Supervisor. We feel Paul Brown is the best choice. We hope the board makes the correct and thoughtful decision to place Paul Brown in the Township Supervisor position. Please consider this a public appeal by 2 of your constituents who are longtime residents to make the right choice for the future of our township and select Paul Brown as our supervisor. Thank you for your time and service to the community, Alan and Janet Whitefield.
Thank
That's
you.
it, I
And
believe.
thank you for your point of order. You were correct. She did it better than I could have anyway, so appreciate it.
Are there any letters for Jose at all?
I don't have any for Jose, and I had one for Mr. Stewart, but they spoke this evening as well, so.
Okay. Counselor, I had submitted a letter of support. I don't know if it's appropriate for me to read it or not.
You are free to engage in the process, even though you're stepping down.
Okay. I can't vote. I can't
That's
make a
right.
motion. I'm just the eye candy for the board this evening, so. I know it's a curse. I guess first I would like to thank each and every candidate for stepping up and putting your name in the hat for the township supervisor's position. I mean, that is, you really got some intestinal fortitude, because you got no idea what you wanted to step up to. But just imagine, we've got attorneys, we've got international political consultants, we've got CPAs, we've got specialized engineers, and I gotta call out my neighbor, who I know that you pulled your name from the hat, but you know, you've been involved in local politics for as long as I can remember it, and you're the one that talked to me running into supervisor back in 2012, and I vow I will never take a phone call from you again after my 3rd martini. The township is truly blessed to have as many selfless individuals willing to give back and serve their communities, and again, I would like to personally thank each and every one of you. And under normal circumstances, I'm confident that any one of these professionals would be able to pick up on the many local issues that are facing our community over time and would make a great supervisor. But these are not normal times that we live in nowadays. We're coming out of a pandemic, and there's businesses and homeowners that are still reeling from all the insanity that was going on. And now we got the Delta variant raising its ugly head, and God only knows what's going to happen there. We've got a housing bubble that's scaring the bejesus out of me that could burst any time, and then God only knows what's going to happen to the revenue stream that we need to be able to provide the goods and services Then we have our friends in Washington continuing to throw too much money at too few goods, setting up the U.S. for a tidal wave of inflation. And any one of these calamities could derail the many township successes that we've had. Now let's throw in a new contract with the fire department and the IWA contract expiring in about a year, and I'll be honest with you, now is not the time for the faint of heart. For those of you at the last board meeting, the one before where I was running through all of the road projects, I think there were 15, 20 road projects. We got 5 or 6 different big development projects on the board. I know DPW has got 15 or 20 different capital projects, all involving water and sewer and life, quality of life initiatives. And for the past 9 years, every idea, every suggestion, and every recommendation ever made to the board has all been based on one simple ideal. What is in the best interest of the township? And for the most part, virtually every recommendation or request of the township board is passed unanimously. In most cases, it was 7-0 in case somebody was on vacation or something like that. You know, so other than a personality difference that might exist on the board, I guess I'm kind of struggling a little bit to understand that what has changed with the replacement appointment process that I first recommended, and where did I lose confidence of the board? But you know what? Life goes on. I'm a big boy. And whatever the rationale, I will defer to the board's better judgment on how this replacement process should be retained. That's life. Even after reviewing the applications and resumes and then actually getting to hear the esteemed candidates, it continues to be my recommendation that having Mr. Paul Brown replace me as a township supervisor is in the best interest of the community. Of all the great folks who want to take on the task, Paul is the only one who served side by side with me for 7 years as a township treasurer and 2 years as trustee as my advisor and confidant, and who knows local issues better than anyone that I know, sometimes including me, I'm sorry to say. Paul continues to be my go-to guy even to this date as trustee when financial or operations advice is needed, and he has never balked when I've asked for help or I felt something was amiss. Forrest, a great man once told me to make sure that you surround myself with really smart people, those who are smarter than you, to help you on your way, and I will take that advice from you and Brooks to heart to my grave, and I think I've tried to do that. As a CPA, combined with years of work in both the public and private sector, Paul has a unique gift of being able to sift through reams of financial data and reports in our BS&A in-house accounting system and identify out-of-line conditions and provide me the counsel that I needed so that I could put forth decisions and recommendations that made sense based on numbers and facts, not on personal feelings and scuttlebutt. The election process for any local unit of government is always a roll of the dice. That has been mentioned a couple of times this evening. Seems whoever has the most money, backing of some special interest group, or is the winner of a popularity contest always seems to win the elections. The scary part is no one really knows if these newly elected officials are qualified or not until it's too late. With my resignation being effective in 1 week, we have a unique opportunity to mitigate any of this risk by picking a replacement with a proven track record, and that is Mr. Brown. Selecting Mr. Brown as the interim supervisor for the next 12 months gives other interested party candidates plenty of time to sit with township officials and department heads and learn the job before the 2022 primary, like I did when I first ran. The late Mr. Bart Clark was the township superintendent when I was running, and he shared his insights and wisdom with me for months before and after the primary to ensure I hit the ground running. Again, after serving this great community for the past 9 years, it is my humble opinion this interim supervisor replacement strategy I've just outlined is in the best interest of the community. After 9 years of working side by side, I know firsthand Mr. Brown has the right stuff to do the job and do it effectively. Respectfully, Pat Kittle, Township Supervisor.
I guess I would like to take time to just say what my thoughts were on the interviews as well.
Mhm.
Is that okay?
Mr. Ritchie, floor is yours.
It's kind of like open dialogue
Yeah,
time right now.
yeah.
so.
Can I interrupt for a 5-minute recess?
Sure.
Would that be all right?
Yeah, it'd be good.
Okay.
So what do we got
Probably
here?
helps all of us.
Supervisor, let's make it 10 minutes.
I got 7:17. Why don't we come back at 7:30?
Thank you.
Meeting is in recess. Staff, you ready? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 6:30. We're going to call the meeting back to order again after a recess. I thought what we would do is, since everybody had a chance to speak.
7:30.
What did I say? Yeah, whatever it is, 7:30, close enough. We'll just go around the board, and the boards, each member can make a couple of comments. Then we're going to invite the candidates to address the board. We'll give you 2 minutes to do your magic, and then we will start to make motions, I guess. Before that, we're going to have our esteemed counselor, Dan Kelly from the Kelly firm, come up. And now, when we're done with all the comment stuff, and just let everybody know what the process is going to be, and as we start to move forward. So why don't we continue to run through the board? I said bye stuff. Anybody else care to address the board? Jose, you'll have your chance as a candidate.
To speak in the podium, recess or?
Yeah, you sit right there when it's for that. So,
Okay.
Terry, anything to say?
I have some things to say. I'd like to thank everyone who put their hat in. I decided to take my name out after the interview process, and I listened to some interviews and realized I do have a lot of talent, but I was not the most qualified for what needs to be done over the next 13 months. I am thankful that we did have a fair and transparent process. I wasn't happy with just someone being appointed, and I think as a board we all decided that, and other people had their chance to make their case and put their name in the hat for this role for the next 13 months. So I don't know, I'm just thankful. I always like transparency in government, and I think this was a fair process and a way for other people to get involved. So thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Terry. You're a candidate. You'll have your chance. Ms. Lochran?
I don't have a lot to say. I just would like to express thanks to everyone that did apply. And Pat, I don't remember exactly the words that you used, but it sounded something like the board has lost faith in your recommendation and how to move forward. And I just want to say I don't truly think that that's what it is. I think that this is how a fair and transparent process is handled, and that's just what we wanted to see.
Okay, good.
So
Thank you for
I
saying
don't
that.
want you to think that.
I appreciate it.
That's all.
Ms. Newbeck?
I wanted to say that I appreciate what Ray Llewellyn said last week. It really put a different perspective on things for me regarding the candidates that are already seated as elected officials. We chose those candidates as voters, and most of us probably have chosen them. And I would have to say that throughout the week, the constant thought that has crossed my mind is to stay the course. And you were voted into the position by the residents and the people. And my feeling is that you should stay the course. You should finish the job that you have at hand. And although this is with Mr. Kittle retiring, it does open us up for that position. I do think that I am in favor of Mr. Stewart to fill that position in the interim, and that's who I will be recommending as Township Supervisor. I do appreciate all of those that have applied. It is a big thing, a big step to put your name in the hat for that, but everyone, and maybe even more people, will have that opportunity next year. And I challenge all of the applicants, even those that have withdrawn, those that had second thoughts and maybe never did put their hat in, to step forward and put your hat in the ring for election next year so that all the voters can then put that decision into the voters' hands as to who will fill that position then through November 20th of 2024. So That's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Ritchie?
Yeah, when I ran for trustee 9 years ago, I felt the township was in great need of leadership. And with the election of Pat Kittle as supervisor, he provided that leadership, along with a vision and passion to do what was best for the township and its residents. Pat guided our township skillfully over these past years, and we're very fortunate that he stepped forward to serve. I want to congratulate Pat and thank him for his leadership, which will be the standard for any new supervisor to emulate. With 14 months to go before the next elected township supervisor takes office, it's imperative that the person appointed to complete this term be able to keep the township moving forward and stay on the right track. So that being said, I'd like to thank all the people that volunteered to be interviewed for the township supervisor appointment, and I know it takes a lot of courage to put forth your name for this position and go through these steps. Here's some of my thoughts on the interviews. One interviewee demonstrated the ability to talk, but through my personal observation over many years, they have never followed through on any relevant action, solution, or participation with any township committee or workshop, even when appointed to do so, to help with any issue that was on the board. This lack of leadership is detrimental in the end, and the township cannot move forward with people who only talk. We need leadership that can develop solutions and work to implement those solutions and make the township a better place to live, work, and invest. Another interviewee has past experience. Although it was many years ago and the township has changed during this time, we need to remember that this interviewee was also a significant source of what the township has been working years now to mitigate. The implementation of benefits and policies that create legacy debt for future years and burdens on future taxpayers is not a fiscally responsible action, and is not doing what is best for the township and the residents. Other interviewees expressed their desire to step in and serve to fill the role of township supervisor. I commend them for doing so. In the coming years, the township will need more residents that are willing to step forward and serve selflessly, but with the dedication and passion to maintain Independence Township as the great home we all know. There's only one interviewee that has the experience and ability to provide immediate and positive action in the position of supervisor. This person has demonstrated the dedication and work ethic to do what is best for the township, offering an educated and passionate opinion on many issues throughout the township. This person has repeatedly expressed a desire to do what is best for the township. I feel that Paul Brown is the best choice to fill the appointment for Independence Township Supervisor.
Very good. So now, Jose, would you concur? And this will be part of the, how do you want to do this now?
I think we start from over there, right? NCL, we start with Paul.
Okay, so this will be where the candidates each get a couple minutes to come on up.
Sure, we'll
So-
start in your
Yeah.
minutes if you
Yeah.
want. How about that?
Yeah, you know, I said 2 minutes, why don't we give you 3, you know, give you time to share your thoughts, and
Should
who
we
wants to
go
be, who wants to be first at the podium? Mr. Bauer, how you doing?
Oh, pretty good.
That's good. Thank you for coming.
Just to be completely clear here, Robert Bauer, and I live over at 4850 Clintonville Road.
Thanks,
the
Bob.
other corner of the township. I put my hat into the ring here because I was afraid. I was afraid that you could not get an adequate number of qualified candidates for this position. And in my mind, there was one characteristic that was really needed here, and that's leadership. Now, while I know some of the board members here, I haven't really met them and talked with them on a personal level for very long. It's usually just random meetings, and I really like everybody who's here. I think I could work with any of you. But That leadership function, no, I have not seen that in more than a couple of you. And that's why I'm taking my hat out of the ring again. I think we have 2 viable candidates. So I'm not going to, completely eliminate the other possibilities here. Those candidates are Paul Brown and Dale Stewart. Paul, I know from more recent contacts and what he's been doing here. I'm perfectly happy with what he has been doing. I've been very happy with what he's been doing. Dale, it's been a long time, unfortunately, and I'm not sure where you are, but at the moment, your best qualification is past experience here. And I'm not sure if the leadership is entirely there or not, but these are the 2 people I think would make the best supervisor right now. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Who would like to be next?
Dale.
Oh, hey, Dale. Sorry, I didn't see you over there. I was writing over here.
It's all right. I thought that perhaps since you 2 are sitting down, it'd make more sense for me to come over here. So this is.
Well, I'm going to make these guys get up too, though.
There you go.
That I just want to be fair to everybody.
There you go. This is an unusual experience, to say the least.
I'll second
I
that.
served as trustee for Independence Township for 8 years. I served as township supervisor for 12 years. And I've served as a city manager all across the state, from Sheboygan to all over. It's been a good experience. And during all that period of time, I used the experiences that I had as the township supervisor to be the city manager in the locations that I was at. And I think that I have broadened my experience and broadened my abilities to do things for the township during all that period of time. And I look forward to the opportunity to do that for the next 12 months. The question that was asked from all of us is whether we would run again for the next election, and I said honestly in that I don't know at this point. Don't know whether I would consider it or not. All that I'm committing to at this point in time is the next 12 to 14 months that I commit to you that I would do. I think that I have the experience and the ability to do that, and I'm willing to do it if that's your choice. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You guys want to arm wrestle or flip a coin? Or?
Save the best for last. So, the board and audience and candidates, I wanted to touch on something that Ron alluded to relative to the significant liabilities we have right now. I think it's north of $6 million. It's unfunded liabilities related to pension benefits, and there are also unfunded liabilities with OPEB, other post-retirement benefits. And one of the first contract negotiations that I was involved with, I wanted to find a way to get our new firefighters to join the same type of benefit for retirement health care that all the other township employees have. Up until that point, all firefighters got lifetime health care benefits. And when I looked at that and tried to think about how we could do it, there's some other action had to happen first. And that was that we had to eliminate lifetime health care benefits for elected officials, because that was still in place. And I went to Pat, and I went to Barb Palat at the time, and I said, we have to bring a motion to eliminate lifetime health care for full-time elected officials, and we have to waive our right to be grandfathered, because that's how it typically works. You can change it, but someone who's already got the right can say, well, I'm grandfathered in. And Pat and Barb were right in track with me that we needed to do that. It's one of the proudest things I've done at Township for me, because it's the right thing. I got rid of a benefit that nobody else in the community gets these days. And I'm proud of that. Now I could go into fire negotiations and say, I got rid of it for myself. So let's talk about how we can move in a way that you guys will accept this. And the fire department did accept that. And then the board passed that contract. And so there's another huge hurdle we have to cross, which is the defined pension benefit, and it's $6 million. So it's super important that we find a way to take care of that.
1 minute.
1 minute, I won't need it. The other thing I want to say is that no matter what the board does today, I absolutely respect the board decision. The township, the policies within that township, and the direction of the township is directed by this board. I am a member of it. I may not always agree, but when the board makes a decision, I agree then. I think it's part of my job to buy into that plan and do everything I can to support the decision made by the board. If Dale is appointed, you'll have my cell number tomorrow. And anything I can do to help, you'll have. Anything any of these board members need from me, I'll be there to help. Now, I have already tendered resignation at my employment. I run a medical distribution company. They have hired my replacement, starts in a couple weeks. I plan on having plenty of time to continue to do what I can to help this board and whoever's appointed supervisor if it's not me.
Your 3 minutes.
And with my heart, I want this board to keep doing what we've done.
3 minutes.
Sorry.
Yep.
Good evening, everyone. Members of the board, dear friends of the community. First of all, I'm going to speak with my heart. This is how I speak. I don't have a political statement to read or nothing. It's me, Jose Aliaga, speaking to the citizens of Independence Township tonight. First of all, thank you so much, all of you, to be here and support me, friends from the community. Secondly, we hear clearly today about a statement says about my action, about how I speak or communicate. I ask you, the board, that does not have to be a major concern or anything, because this is about leadership. This is about what is the way we're gonna take our community. I'm dedicated and passionate for Independence Township. It's so many stories. It's how I met all of you, because I knocked your door, or because I met you at the TV show, but it's always helping the community. But I want to address solutions today, not just a political statement, or maybe something that sounds very nice, a soundbite. If you guys elect me the next township supervisor, I want to take a cut of $30,000 from my salary because, like Paul says, we have a deficit and a problem to address. And if we're going to make any cuts, it's going to start from my salary, because I believe we need to help general funds and our community. I don't want to lose any employees. I want our employees to stay here. As our community grows, we need more good employees, keep our township fiscal safe, and that's what I want to do and commit and in the cameras. I'm not making a political promise or anything. I'm 44 years old, but I have a lot of experience. Think about this. Donald Trump even wanted me in his campaign to make a speech for him. He's very picky to people, but he gave me the opportunity to speak for him, and several other leaders. A couple of weeks ago, I was with a mayor and came from Peru, and before that was a governor. I always dealing with people and making solutions. Probably they don't know about this.
1 minute.
I was a little bit disappointed today, Supervisor, that you kind of make a support for some of the members of candidates, because I believe also you should be neutral and remain neutral in this process. But anyways, it happened. Secondly, my last thing that I want to say is, I believe in my heart that we have a duty, and my duty is my community. I love Independence Township, and I will commit hard to work hard for all of you. Thank you so much, and God bless Independence Township. Thank you.
Thanks, Jose. Mr. Kelly?
Thank you, Supervisor Kittle. Dan Kelly, Township Attorney. I don't have a whole lot to say. I think the board understands this, but just so that the public understands, tonight the The vote will be made by 6 members because by statute, Mr. Kittle cannot vote to replace himself. There'll be a majority vote of everyone who votes. We've had a discussion about a recusal. It is an option for any of the applicants to ask the board to recuse them, and that would be by vote of the board. And again, it would be a majority of the members of the board that vote. I've rendered an opinion that while it may be a conflict for the applicant to vote on him or her being seated in the position, it is not a conflict for that same member to vote for other applicants that are board members. But ultimately, that'll be decided by the board as to whether or not a recusal will be accepted. Because there are 6 members that vote, a majority of 6 voting members would be 4. If there is a recusal, then the board would fall down to 3, and a majority would, or 5, and the majority would be 3. So those are basically the parameters of the voting tonight. The statute does not provide any guidance as to a process, and the general rule that a board member can make a motion at any time in a public meeting holds. So once it's open for motions, any board member can make a motion to appoint the next supervisor of the township.
Question, if I may.
That's up to the chair.
Yep, what's up?
Sure.
Just curious, because as I see, there were 3 candidates that are still within the race. And with 6 people voting, that it could result in a 2-2-2 vote. Are there any recommendations on how that should be handled?
Yeah, well, the motions are going to be handled single motions. So it won't be 2-2-2, it'll be a motion, and whether or not that motion passes or fails.
Okay.
I know that one of the candidates has indicated that other candidates are better qualified, but I don't think he actually withdrew, so I think we have 4 candidates.
I thought you did.
But that, you did withdraw. Okay, so you're correct, we're 3 candidates.
But we keep going, and there's individual motions made, and people can change their votes.
That's right. There is a process, obviously. If you want to go back and redo a motion, then the prevailing party on the first motion, somebody from the prevailing party must vote for the reconsideration. So we can go over that if that's necessary. I can give you an example. If there's a motion for candidate A, that candidate A only gets 2 votes, and it fails for lack of a majority. After some period of time, you can make a motion for reconsideration of candidate A, but somebody who voted against candidate A must make that motion later in the meeting. So the prevailing party, whether that be yes or no, has to make the motion to reconsider the candidate.
I'll never remember that.
I'm here if you know, I know you, Mr. Kittle. Just
I'm
ask
pretty
me
good.
again.
I ain't that good. You know what I think we'll do,
I'll
though? I mean, if
speak
we're
up.
in a position where we have a 3-way tie, I mean, I would probably invite the candidates to get up again, give us a little 2-minute opportunity, just maybe there's some epiphany somewhere that they would like to share, you know, and then we can go through that process again. So right now, I think we have to figure out who's making a motion.
Right.
Because I can't.
Yes.
Maybe we should write the names on a piece of paper.
No, we already
No?
voted to do it verbally.
Okay.
I'll move to appoint Paul Brown as the next township supervisor.
I would like to recuse myself and ask the board to recuse me from voting.
Motion by Mr. Brown to recuse himself. You really want to do this?
Absolutely, I'm not,
Is there?
I've said I feel strongly about it, I
we
can't
need a
vote for
second
myself.
You're making the motion?
Mr. Brown is.
And he make the motion to recuse himself?
Yeah, no, he's asking the board to recuse him, so there'd
Yeah,
be a
okay.
motion from the board. and
The board makes a
would
motion, you're
vote.
right.
Oh, I can't make motions here, though, can I?
For that, you can.
That's
I'll make a
correct.
motion for Mr. Brown to recuse himself.
Right.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made, motion's been seconded. All those in favor of Mr. Brown recusing himself, say aye.
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 Those opposed, say no.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
We have a motion.
So the original motion's on the table.
Correct.
Okay.
But we're needing a
Mis-
second.
Mr. Ritchie made a motion to appoint Mr. Brown. Is there a second for that motion?
Can you clarify?
Yes.
So even for people to get the chance to say yes or no, you need a motion and a second.
Yes, yes, you need a second. The rule on the first and the second is the original motion maker must vote for the person that they chose. A seconder to the motion is free to change the motion and vote no, actually, even though they seconded the motion.
Okay. I'll second.
Okay.
So we do a roll call vote for this, ma'am?
We do. Clerk Newbeck, no. Treasurer Lockren?
No.
Trustee Aliaga?
No.
Trustee Nalamothu?
Yes.
Trustee Ritchie?
Yes.
Failed 3-2.
Now what?
Need another motion?
Yeah. We're back on the floor for motions.
Okay, I make a motion for Mr. Dale Stewart.
Motion's on the table for Dale Stewart. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call vote.
Treasurer Lockren?
Yes.
Trustee Aliaga?
No.
Trustee
Wait.
Brown?
No.
Trustee Aliaga, you made the motion.
So you have to vote yes because you made the
You can't change your vote.
Oh, you says I can make a motion, but you can vote no.
No, I said the second can vote no.
The motion maker has to vote.
Okay, so if there's confusion, can he unwind it?
I don't want a supervisor picked if there's confusion, but that is the rule. If you made the motion, you're obligated to vote in favor of the motion maker.
Now, the guy who makes the second can go either way.
Yes, yes.
Okay, because of the confusion, should we redo this again?
We should ask Jose if he wants to withdraw his motion, right?
Would you want to withdraw your motion?
Sure, I will.
What was that? You say yes, or?
Yes, he does want to withdraw the motion.
May I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and in fairness, none of us have ever done this before, so,
It's the first time.
you know, this kind of thing happens, I don't know if anybody's seen it before in this township for a supervisor, so it's easy to make that mistake. In fact, I literally was asking the clerk earlier today, what happens if this and this happens? And she had told me ahead of time, so wasn't sure.
Right.
Madam Clerk?
I just think for clarification, a little bit more than what what Counselor Kelly said.
He used to be a trustee.
Is, I know, is the maker is actually just allowing the motion to be put on the floor for discussion. If you can kind of wrap your head around that. You make the motion means you're in favor, you second it is you're allowing it to be discussed upon, putting it out on the table for the vote, if that clears it up, so.
And just to be fair, I believe Clerk Newbeck, you withdrew your support for the motion as well?
Yes, I'll
Okay.
withdraw it for now.
So then the motion does die.
Correct.
Okay, looks like we need a new motion for one of the two candidates. I can't make one, so one of you guys is gonna have to speak up.
I'll make a motion to appoint Dale Stewart as Township Supervisor.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
I can go, so we're back to roll call. Treasurer Lockren.
Yes.
Trustee Aliaga.
No.
Trustee Brown.
No.
Trustee Nalamothu.
No.
Trustee Ritchie.
No.
Clerk Newbeck, yes. Motion failed.
So all three candidates have had a first go-around? so-
Nope.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're right.
Need one more motion for Trustee Aliaga. Somebody's got to talk. once, what happens if there's no motion?
Then there's no motion. Now we go to, but let an appropriate period of time
Oh,
run.
I'm sorry, yeah, I'm appropriating. Is there a motion that someone is willing to make to support Trustee Aliaga for appointment to Township Supervisor?
I'll move to appoint Jose Aliaga to Township Supervisor.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Aliaga.
Is,
I will recuse myself for this.
You're asking to recuse yourself?
I'll move to recuse Jose Aliaga from voting.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
Okay, so Aliaga, we're on Trustee Brown,
No.
Trustee Nalamothu,
No.
Trustee Ritchie,
No.
Clerk Newbeck, no. Treasurer Lockren,
Yes.
motion failed for lack of support. Or lack of.
So, now we've been through all four. The only motions that would be left would be for a reconsideration. So, anyone who voted no for a candidate could ask for a motion to reconsider that candidate. We'll have a vote on the reconsideration, and then we'll have a vote on the appointment. But you have to have voted no for the candidate to make the motion for reconsideration.
Other question?
And I think
Oh, yeah, I got a lot of that are rattling around, but
So, should a motion for reconsideration come forward, isn't that for that person, and it would all be in the same vote with the same roll call?
No, you have two motions. You have two motions. The first motion is to reconsider the candidate, and then once that reconsideration is approved, then you have the motion to appoint the candidate. So you could vote for a reconsideration, but vote no on the candidate again. Because the candidate still needs to have a majority ultimately. Yes?
On a reconsideration, does the original mover continue to hold the position of being a yes?
No.
Ask that again, I'm sorry?
Well, if it's a reconsideration of the prior motion, then we're
Oh.
not making a new motion, right?
Right.
So the second time around,
They're
whoever
free
made
to
it
vote
does
either
not
way.
have to. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
It's by a majority vote.
We're just reconsidering the
So,
prior motions.
Whoever made the first motion
Can now vote no.
cannot vote no, but the
No,
person.
can now, they can the second time.
Yes.
But that person had to have
Yeah.
voted no to bring forward the reconsideration.
Yes, the motion must be
Oh,
made by
right.
somebody that
If somebody else
opposed
makes it, but
the
the
motion.
original
Right.
mover can vote
Correct.
no the second time.
Okay, okay.
does it work when we bring the
It
candidate?
does.
I don't think so.
So if I kept a list, I'm sure the clerk did as well, so if there's any confusion of who can vote for who, we could go through the list.
Yeah, I would think that we're all a little befuddled on this one, Dan.
All right, for Paul Brown, to make a motion, the three noes were Jose Aliaga, Rachel Lockren, and Carrie Newbeck. So one of those three would have to make a motion for Paul Brown. For Dale Stewart, the noes were Jose Aliaga, Paul Brown, Terry Nalamothu, or Ron Ritchie, I'm sorry.
Actually, that motion was withdrawn. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it was a vote.
You're right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So one of those four would have to make a motion for Dale Stewart. And for Jose Aliaga, the noes were Paul Brown, Terry Nalamothu, Ron Ritchie, and Carrie Newbeck.
Why don't we start with Mr. Brown? Is there any of the three no votes that would care to make a motion for reconsideration? Hearing none. For Dale Stewart, are there any of the no votes who would make a motion for reconsideration? And for Jose Aliaga, is there any of the no votes who would make a recommendation for reconsideration, make a motion for reconsideration? Hey, I don't want to say nothing. I ain't staying. So, somebody's got to make a
Can
decision.
I make a motion to order 5 large pizzas? Everyone's going to get hungry.
Maybe after each round of votes, we should ask the 3 candidates whether
Yeah, why don't we do that?
they
You know,
want to
yeah.
either make a
Any
statement or
of the
withdraw
candidates
or whatever.
want to
so.
address the board one more time?
And I would have them go to the podium to keep it all equal,
Yeah.
so.
Give you a couple of minutes and just thoughts, issues, opportunities, strengths, weaknesses.
Why don't we have them go opposite of what they went the last time? Just so the same person's not going first, second, third.
Jose, would you like to address the board?
Sure.
Very good. Yeah, we'll give everybody 3 minutes again.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Clock's running.
Okay. Members of the board, I know that we're going to have a very tough decision. Every time we come to the board, we always come prepared and ready to make a decision. That decision doesn't impact just 1 or 2 or 3 houses, impact the whole community. That is why everybody is here. But you see, one of the greatest things that America have is the right to vote, given by the Constitution of the United States. Other countries, sometimes, they don't have that. And I respect that, because I come from a country that sometimes we don't have that choice. But we're privileged to have the right to vote. On 2016 and 2020, I worked really hard for my community. And I see the outcome on the primary last year, and I saw the November election. I couldn't believe it, quite frankly, the results. I saw like, wow. And I'm very appreciative. A lot of my friends are here supporting me. And for the bottom of my heart, I was thankful for my community. You see, in Peru, you guys Google me, you know what my family is about. I can go back to Peru and live great over there. But I choose to be here. Because when I come to America, I came as a stranger. Now I call it home. This is the community I love so much. I don't know what is the reason if you guys don't want to vote for me, really. Because I worked really hard to be here in front of you. I don't know. But I ask you again, Board of Trustees, I ask you for your support and your vote. My accent shouldn't be a problem. My leadership, I think at this point, I agree with one of the gentlemen. We need leaders bigger than speeches, proven and tested. I worked really hard to be here. I did. I am here because of you, because you support and your vote. I ask you, Board of Trustees, to vote for me. I'm willing to work really hard. I have the passion, the determination, the education, 9 years experience, and I love my community so much. And whatever happened tonight, I'm gonna still working for you, for all of you. But if you give me the honor and privilege to be your supervisor, I make sure that my door, my office is gonna be open for everybody. I'm gonna make the right changes.
30 seconds.
Well, 30 seconds. I make sure that Independence Township is going to keep great. Thank you so much. God bless all of you. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jose. Dale, care to make a comment?
The first thought that went through my mind when you decided to give an opportunity for us to speak again was, no. You know, I mean, I was here the other night and told you what I thought. I wrote out some things to tell you what I thought. I think that the history of what I've done for the township and what I've been involved with in the township, and all of those give you sufficient reason to make a decision. But I will tell you that I wouldn't be standing here talking to you at all if I wasn't willing to step forward and do what it takes to do this job for the next 14 months. As I said in the remarks before, I'm not willing to commit of running again in the next election. I don't know that I would want to run again in the next election. But I will commit that I will do whatever it takes to do this job for the next period of time. I don't know all of you well. I know all of you in one amount or another, and I look forward to the opportunity of working with you. I appreciate Pat Kittle and what he has done. You know, I've had an opportunity to discuss issues with regard to the township on various occasions. All I'm going to say to you is I'm willing to do the job if you want me to do it. If you don't want me to do it, I'll go home. Thank you.
Thanks, Dale.
Paul Brown, 8684 Thundera Boulevard. Anybody who's
Clock
watched
is-
meetings
clock has started.
at this board knows we have fun. And I can tell that if Dale is elected, that will continue. I would only ask that the board consider the endorsements that I received from recent employees who worked with me for multiple years. I've said to this board in the past few weeks, the most important thing in this township is the employees. All the work gets done through them. We do our part, but without the 100-plus employees, none of this happens. And I would suggest that having 4 recently employees who recently left the township for other opportunities or retired, 2 of those folks deputies who wrote me pretty good endorsements, 2 who were department directors, also with great endorsements, including one from Wendy Hillman, who was a CPA at Plant Moran prior to coming to this township, and now is at a larger city. I would ask you to consider those as very likely there's a significant number of employees in this township who would be very comfortable with me in that chair. And I know part of that is you have to sort of make an assumption, but that's what I'm asking you to do, is think about the endorsements I've had from employees who have worked with me and know me. And the endorsements were different, right? Different kind of people, different situations, but they all said the same thing. They feel like I do a good job here, and that's what I'm asking the board to do. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Paul. So we're going to go back to where we were before. We'll start with Dale this time. Of those board members who voted no, is someone willing to submit a motion to reconsider? Am I saying this right? Dale Stewart?
Yes.
All right. What's an appropriate amount of time of silence?
When you feel comfortable that everybody's had a chance to say something, and they're not saying it on purpose.
All right, we'll give you 45 more minutes. We will need those pizzas. Moving on to Mr. Brown. 3 candidates who voted no for Mr. Brown. Is there anyone who would like to make a motion to reconsider Mr. Brown for Township Supervisor? Almost wish I had that soundtrack from Jeopardy over there, you know? That's the one. And then for Jose Aliaga, of the candidates who voted no for Jose, is there anyone who'd